The episode contains 43 uncensored uses of the N-word, and yet this episode actually received positive feedback from civil rights organizations like the NAACP, who praised the episode for accurately depicting other racist perceptions of how black people feel when hearing the word. The only person that seemed to be upset was the founder of the Parents Television Council, L. Brent Bozell, who issued a statement criticizing the lack of protest, comparing it to the outrage radio host Don Imus received for his statements. Severe misunderstanding of context aside, I'm sure he still got the point of the episode, that non-black people have a lack of understanding of how it feels to hear that word used, and that it's not really their place to make these kind of statements, as well as just how hilariously ironic it would be for a white person to make a statement like this. So let's go ahead and check and take a look at what this man looks like. Surely he would... well, I think that tells us everything we need to know. This one was pretty minor as well. This episode features some pretty graphic and violent depictions of an assault on Indiana Jones, and obviously there were a lot of people that were upset about this. An insider even claimed that while Paramount had no plan to protest the episode, they were not big fans and, quote, wanted it to go away. You all probably know my opinion of this episode by now. I think that what they were trying to do was a funny idea. I just think the execution was a little overboard. They definitely didn't have to take it as far as they did, but hey, this is South Park. No one crosses the line quite like them, so while I'm not a fan of this episode, I can still respect it for the risks being taken. This one pokes fun at the leaders of nations all across the world, but it would seem that Mexico's President Felipe Calderon didn't take it as well as the other leaders. The episode was pulled from MTV Mexico, with the network claiming that they couldn't get permissions to use the Mexican flag in time. Though Mexican fans of South Park were skeptical of this and cried censorship. The episode was eventually rebroadcasted in Mexico, but only after permission from the Ministry of Interior, so it's pretty safe to say that they probably did the episode. We have finally reached South Park's magnum opus in terms of controversy. Not only is this the South Park episode that stirred up more real-world controversy than any other, an argument can be made for it being one of the most controversial episodes of any television show ever. To celebrate the 200th episode, Matt and Trey decided to go back and basically reignite every single controversy they've ever had. From Tom Cruise to Jennifer Lopez, almost all of their celebrity digs were back on full display. But of course they had to go back and visit one of their largest controversies, the depiction of the Muslim prophet Muhammad. In part 1, there are heavy implications that Muhammad will be shown in next week's episode. After part 1 was released, radical Muslim group Revolution Muslim heavily implied that if Muhammad was shown, there would be action taken against both Matt and Trey and Comedy Central. They included references to Dutch filmmaker Theo van Gogh, who was assassinated by a radical Muslim after publishing books criticizing Islam. Matt and Trey seemed pretty unfazed by this, as it was their belief that giving in to these threats would be not only hypocritical, since the entire premise of the episode is defending free speech and condemning terrorism, but they would also be allowing terrorism to work in creating a slippery slope for censorship of free speech. The same could not be said about Comedy Central, who were more than willing to give in to the demands of this group. Because of this, when the episode aired, every single use of the name Muhammad was censored, every appearance of Muhammad himself was censored, and Kyle's entire speech at the end of the episode discussing the effectiveness of terrorism was completely censored. And if that wasn't enough, not only were both episodes pulled from ever being rebroadcasted again, they were removed from South Park's website, every streaming service that the show is on, and every DVD set of the show except for the Region 1 release of the 14th season. This brings the total of banned South Park episodes to 5, along with the previously mentioned Cartoon Wars and Super Best Friends. Though the episodes have been practically wiped off the face of the earth in terms of legal methods of watching it, it can still be found re-uploaded on the internet. It just takes a bit of searching. Years after release, a 4chan user was also able to find a partially uncensored version of the episode through a glitch at the South Park Studios website, and for the first time we knew what Kyle said in his speech. Again, I talked about this in my South Park Iceberg video, or you can find the full clip floating around pretty easily if you're interested, but yeah, you can check that out if you want. Despite the threats and the situation becoming a national news story, no violence or action was ever taken against Matt and Trey or anyone at Comedy Central. Obviously, Matt and Trey were very unhappy with the censorship, but despite this, they're still with Comedy Central, and occasionally will reference the situation in interviews or through the show. They've even been able to sneak in a shot or two of Muhammad without Comedy Central noticing. A controversy as big as the last one is a pretty tough act to follow in terms of generating controversy, and because of that, it would be nearly 14 years before South Park would generate another truly noteworthy controversy. This would come not in the form of an episode of the show, but rather with the release of their new video game, South Park: The Stick of Truth. I discussed this topic in great detail again on my iceberg, so I recommend you check it out. The short version is this. Europe and Australia have been known to be a lot stricter on what can be shown in the media, so because of this, Ubisoft decided to censor certain parts of the game that they assumed would cause problems in these regions. Censored scenes include alien probing, performing abortions, and some special censoring in Germany, where certain imagery is illegal. They replaced the censored content with this mocking splash screen, and that was that. It wouldn't be until season 23 that the show would have another noteworthy controversy. I was going to talk about the Netherlands pulling the season 19 episode sponsored content due to Garrison's comments on Syrian refugees, as well as the show's half apology to Al Gore in season 22 after ridiculing climate change in the past, but those seem pretty minor to me, so I figured I would just mention them here. But anyways, remember how I mentioned that it wouldn't be the last time South Park would be accused of transphobia? Well, here we are. In Bored Girls, Strong Woman competes in a Strong Woman competition as a heavy favorite for first place. That is, until she meets one of her competition, Heather Swanson, who is a trans woman. She's modeled in the image of Macho Man Randy Savage, along with the trademark style of speaking, and she absolutely destroys the competition with no issue. After this was released, the absolute cesspool known as Twitter broke into a fit of rage. Not saying it's a cesspool because of this, I'm just saying it is in general because that website sucks. Many people were horrified by the show's depiction of trans athletes, and many even called for its cancellation. It was labeled transphobic by countless reviewers and journalists, as many discussed the implications of the episode and the effects it could have on trans people. Obviously, nothing ever came of any of this besides the hate mob, but the situation does raise an interesting question about the show's attitude towards trans people. To go off on a bit of a tangent, I would like to give my own opinion. Personally, as someone who is unqualified to speak on this topic, being both not female and not transgender, I don't believe that this episode is transphobic. In reality, the episode contains very little commentary on trans athletes, because Heather Swanson isn't really meant to represent trans athletes. It's revealed throughout the episode that she is Strong Woman's ex-boyfriend, who transitioned solely to get revenge on her because he felt like she had beaten him by breaking up with him. This insecurity of losing to a girl is what drives him to do this. In reality, Heather Swanson is more of a representation of these male insecurities than a commentary on trans athletes.
Didn't need to jump there. Yeah, it is. Four, four, four. I didn't want to go too high there to hit that fish. I always get paranoid. My guess is that this is going to be a 302. Yeah. Still a gold? What the hell, dude? Yeah, did not hit that, but still saved it. So I'll lose some time. Probably could have done an early jump. I almost jumped too early and hit him. But thankfully that did not happen. I'm gonna turn up the game. No, it's 269. This is terribly slow. Oops. Could have been worse. Could have definitely been worse. Good. There we go. Alright, we're on a run now. good, really safe. Oh well, it loses like half a second. Again, that was really safe. That was very close. Okay, that was decent. Boom! Yes! 23 on console. It's a 2346. That's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. I'll be right back. So this is about 40 seconds slower than my emulator time. I think I messed up one H2. Everything else was mediocre. 5 Ghost House was kind of slow. I messed up 8-1. 8-2 was fine. Actually, it's pretty good. 8-T was fine. 8-3 was fine. 8-4 was fine. 8-Castle I had to recover. 8-5 was fine. 8-6 was slow. 8-7 was slow. 8-8 was pretty good. 8T2 was fine. 8 Bowser's Castle was a little slow, but it was pretty average. What? 2346. That is about... It's about 44th. That's top 50. Biddy biddy biddy. I'm gonna let this ending sequence play and then I'll show the DS just for proof on the full recording. I gotta retime that because the split when I finished was late, so it might be a 45, a 2345. But right now I'm just doing a quick run just to get my console skills adequate, so I'm not gonna prove it for now. But I'll probably come back and try to get a better record sometime. Hey. Water. Alright, I'm gonna save just to show.